So think about we are in temple. What is the time now? 7:50. We are in our new center, ISKCON Gachibowli Bhakti Center, GBC. Haribol. So we are doing Guru Bandhana. No, before that Guru Bandhana we have Sringararati, Darshanarati. Let us do. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaha Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaha Bhajami. Venokvanantamaravindalayataaksham Bharhavatam Samastitam Buddhasundarangam Kandarbhakoti-kamaniya Vishesha-shobhana Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami. Angani yasya sakale Driyavriti-manti Vasyanti panti kalayanti Hiram jayanti Ananda chinmaya sadhu Dvala vigrahasya Govinda Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami. Govinda Adipurusham Tamaham bhajami. These two prayers chosen by Srila Prabhupada and given to Yamuna Mataji, pure devotee of Srila Prabhupada's staunch follower. We all see in every morning in our temples these two Govinda Mataji Darshanarthi immediately after Lord ready with the new dress for the day. This is the prayer. Brahma Samhita prayers. Let me read quickly translation. Let us meditate upon this. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with the figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. So, one of the opulence of Krishna is beauty, right? So that is that. His unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. So Krishna is the beautiful and the best. All superlative apply in Krishna. Krishna's beauty. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of the transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. Angani Yasya, that means when we offer to Krishna the bhoga, by glance, it's going to be purified. By his glance. Just putting in the temple order, that's it. He will take away all the karmic reactions from that offered, the items, because we are acknowledging, Krishna, you are the giver of everything, and we are just offering with love and devotion. Please accept it. He will accept. And that's going to be karma-free diet. And he can eat from any part of the body. By eyes, he can eat. By ears, he can eat. By just looking at that is done. It's taken. That's what it is. Angani yasya sakalendriya. Sakalendriya, all different parts of the body, he can do anything actually. That's what we can understand. So this is the Guru Vandana. Right after Darshanarati, we do in our ISKCON temples. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Vandamoy Savadhana Mate Vandamoy Savadhana Mate Yahara Prasade Bhai He Bhavatoriya Jai Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Guru Mukha Padma Vata Sakya Chitte Koriya Aikya Arana Kori Homane Asha Arana Kori Homane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Utama Gati Ye Prasade Pure Sarva Asha Ye Prasade Pure Sarva Asha चक्कुदान दिलो जय जन्म जन्म प्रभु से चक्कुदान दिलो जय जन्म जन्म प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाशा जाते प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाशा जाते वेदे गाय जहाँ रचरित वेदे गाय जहाँ रचरित श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आधम जनारा बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनारा बंधु लोकना लोकेरा जीवाना लोकना लोकेरा जीवाना आहा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पद आहा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पदाचयम आहा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पदाचय आहा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पदाचय एबे जाय त्रिभुवाना एबे जाय त्रिभुवाना शीला प्रभुपाद पतिता पावाना श्रीला प्रभुपाद पतिता पावाना श्रीला गुरुदेव लोहिलो चराना श्रीला गुरुदेव लोहिलो चराना जया प्रभुपादा 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 श्रीला प्रभुपादा जया गुरुदेवा 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 श्रीला गुरुदेवा नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल. Very important prayer. That's why Srila Prabhupada institutionalized this song written by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. It's called Prema Bhakti Chandrika. Actually, it has another 4 or 6 verses there, but Prabhupada chosen first 4. Every morning in front of Srila Prabhupada deity, we do this. So this is the Guru Parampara system. We are approaching Krishna through Guru, right? So it's the right method. Okay, let us read this translation quickly and we'll go to Bhagavatam discussion. Okay. Anyone likes to do this? Anyone likes to read? Haribol?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Raju Prabhu.
Yeah, I'll do, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Translation: the lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Can you continue, Prabhuji?
So continue.
Can you? Yeah, second. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him, ecstatic prema emanates. By him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord, the master of the devotees. O Lokanatha Goswami, O master, be merciful unto me. Give me the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three words. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu Raju Prabhu. So unless we come to a proper Guru, we don't understand this Vedic literature. And especially, I am humbly begging for all these Siksha Gurus and my Guru Maharaj His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj and our founder Acharya and Samstapaka Acharya, His Divine Grace Abhay Charana and the Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, with his purports, explanations. What I am trying to say something today, and every time, every class, it's their mercy. Whatever applicable, if I say something which attracts, it's their mercy. That grade goes to them, Guru Parampara. I am just an instrument serving in a humble mode. Thank you so much for the opportunity today to speak about Srimad Bhagavatam. So, I will start now. So let me this one. Default. Translation. Okay. Anyway, we'll do this. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Srila Guru Deva Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Yeah, I'll share my screen. We'll start with this particular verse. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, the status quo. We are supposed to read chapter 32. Yesterday, we have gone through it. 31st chapter by Subha Prabhuji explained. 31. Conversation between Manu and Kardama. No, this one, no? Correct, no? Status quo, okay.
31.
The Lord Kapila's instructions on the movements of the living entities. So far we have done, till we have reached up to the point of 32nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So every other weekend, we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, completing some overview, at least touching Srimad Bhagavatam, important topics and important points from each chapter. And every other preacher so nicely presenting these chapters, one chapter by one devotee. That's nice. And first canto we had 19 chapters. Second canto we have 10 chapters. Third canto we have 33 chapters. 33 chapters. Close to 8 months, I think. Close to 1 year. We are reading this. We are doing this activity. Very nice. And Praveen Prabhu, in your idea, we are trying. We are serving. Bhagavatam. We are serving Bhagavatam. By at least taking out the each chapter every other weekend and try to put some points by reading different points from different lectures and Subodhini guys, etc. With 2 minutes, I wanted to read. This was in my mind. Uh, I wanted to read just chapter names up to 30 seconds. Okay, just want to read. Canto 1, it talks about the creation. Number 1, chapter 1, questions by the sages. Chapter 2, divinity and divine service. Chapter 3, Krishna is the source of our incarnation. Chapter 4, the appearance of Sri Narada Muni. Chapter 5, Narada instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam for Vyasadeva. Chapter 6, conversation between Narada and Vyasadeva. Chapter 7, the son of Drona punished. Chapter 8, prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit saved. Chapter 9, the passing away of Bhishma in the presence of Lord Krishna. Chapter 10, departure of Lord Krishna for Dwaraka. Chapter 11, Lord Krishna entrance into Dwaraka. Chapter 12, birth of Emperor Parikshit. Chapter 13, Dhritarashtra quits home. Chapter 14, the disappearance of Lord Krishna. Chapter 15, the Pandavas retired timely. Chapter 16, how Parikshit received the age of Kali. Chapter 17, punishment and reward of Kali. Chapter 18, Maharaja Parikshit cursed by Brahmana boy. Chapter 19, the appearance of Sukadeva Goswami. Canto 2, the cosmic manifestation. First one is creation, and next one is the cosmic manifestation. Chapter 1, the first step in God revelation. Chapter 2, the Lord in the heart. We are reading this in our, we have done actually in our regular calls. Chapter 3, pure devotion service, the change in heart. Chapter 4, the process of creation. Chapter 5, the cause of all causes. Chapter 6, Purusha Sukta confirmed. Chapter 7, scheduled incarnation with specific functions. Chapter 8, questions by King Parikshit. Chapter 9, answers by citing the Lord's version. Chapter 10, Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. See, that is the beauty of Vaishnava Acharya, especially our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Each chapter having a meaningful chapter name. What is there in the chapter? And in and out, he has done reading and put the proper topics. So each and 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam converts in English language with the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Nobody did like this. And we are mercy recipients of Srila Prabhupada's purports and his teachings. Canto 3, the status quo. We are in Canto 3, the status quo. Chapter 1, questions by Vidura. Chapter 2, remembrance of Lord Krishna. Chapter 3, the Lord's pastimes out of Vrindavana. Chapter 4, Vidura approaches Maitreya. Chapter 5, Vidura talks with Maitreya. Chapter 6, creation of the universal form. Chapter 7, further inquiries by Vidura. Chapter 8, manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Chapter 9, Brahma's prayers for creative energy. Chapter 10, divisions of creation. Chapter 11, calculation of time from the atom. Chapter 12, creation of the Kumaras and others. Chapter 13, the appearance of Lord Varaha. Chapter 14, pregnancy of Diti in the evening. Chapter 15, description of the kingdom of God. Chapter 16, the two doorkeepers of Vaikunta, Jaya Vijaya, cursed by the sages. Chapter 17, victory of Hiranyaksha over all the directions of the universe. Chapter 18, the battle between the Lord Boar and the demon Hiranyaksha. Chapter 19, the killing of the demon Hiranyaksha. Chapter 20, conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. Chapter 21, conversation between Manu and Kardama. Chapter 22, the marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. Chapter 23, Devahuti's lamentation. Chapter 24, the renunciation of Kardama Muni. Chapter 25, the glories of devotional service. Chapter 26, fundamental principles of material nature. Chapter 27, understanding material nature. Chapter 28, Kapila's instructions on the execution of devotional service. Chapter 29, explanation of devotional service by Lord Kapila. Chapter 30, description by Lord Kapila of adverse fruitive activities. Chapter 31, Lord Kapila's instructions on the movements of the living entities. Chapter 32, entanglement in fruitive activities. That's what we are going to discuss today. So this is the thing. See, how many of us remember everything? Nobody remembers everything. Because our mind, because of we are in the Kali Yuga time frame, we don't have that much intelligence, just like in previous Yuga. Once they heard, that's it. Lifetime they never forget. No, we have to repeatedly read. Even though we are reading chapter by chapter every other weekend, we have to think that we are with Krishna, because there is no difference between Krishna and Bhagavatam. It is about Krishna. When we associate with Krishna's teachings, we directly associate with Krishna, because Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila, there is no difference. Identical with Krishna. That's why spirituality is more sublime, because it's identical. When we chant with Krishna, we are with Krishna. When we read about Krishna, we are with Krishna. When we say something about Krishna, we are with Krishna. Think that we are with Krishna since last 8 months. Every other weekend, even though we don't remember, that doesn't matter. At least we are touching Bhagavatam, touching the lotus feet, first 2 cantos of lotus feet of Krishna, and third, it's a description is there. So today we'll discuss chapter 32, entanglement in fruitive activities. Fruitive activities, what does it mean? Fruitive activities means quickly. Let me add this point and we can go through it. Verses. Fruitive activities means it's a binding activities. It's a binding activities. Binding means there are 3 karmas, we all know. Sakarma, Vikarma. Those 2 activities are binding. Fruitive activities nothing but Sakarma karma and Vikarma. Bad activities and good activities. Whereas Bhakti Yoga activities are Akarma. Bhakti Yoga activities are Akarma. No karma. Because it's situated on the mode of Shuddha Sattva. Whatever activities under the 3 modes of material nature is binding. Just to be able to remember. Whatever the activities, mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance, if you perform, it is binding. You never come back on the liberated state. So fruitive activities means Sakarma and Vikarma. So Lord Kapila is explaining so nicely in this chapter. So let us quickly read and understand. Sorry, I'm coughing and I have some cold. Please forgive me for any in between coughings. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity, Praveen Prabhu and Lilananda Prabhu, Gachibowli. Now we are very excited to having our center in Kondapur, ISKCON Gachibowli Bhakti Center. The name itself is very nice. Gachibowli Bhakti Center. So many souls definitely get benefit from the pure teachings of Krishna, pure devotional service. We are practicing pure devotional service. We are trying to elevate ourselves by practicing this method of Bhakti Yoga. Right. So let us, one verse, we will do three times. 3 times, one, I will do 3 times, and one Mataji, one Prabhuji. And then we can start with Mangalacharya and discussion quickly. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kapila Buvacha. Atayo Gruhamedhiyan. Dharman Yeva Vasan Grihe. Kamamartam cha dharman swan. Dogdhi bhuya pipartitan. Atayo Gruhamedhiyan. Dharman Yeva Vasan Grihe. Kamamartam cha dharman swan. Dogdhi bhuya pipartitan. Atayo Gruhamedhiyan. See, Gruhamedhiyan. Dharman Yeva Vasan Grihe. Kamamartam cha dharman swan. Dogdhi bhuya pipartitan. One Prabhuji, one Mataji. Please recite.
Kapila Uvacha. Atayo Gruhamedhiyan dharman eva vasan grihe kamanattam cha dharman swan dogdhi bhuya pipartitan.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Padma Mataji. Thank you.
Kapila Uvacha. Athayo Gruhamedhiyan Yeva Vasan Grihe Kamamarthancha Dharman Swan Dogdhi Bhuyah Pipartitan.
Thank you, Mataji. So in these fruitive activities, we are going to understand two things. We heard many times Gruhastha, difference between Gruhastha and Gruhamedhi. See, Lord Kapila is using this Gruhamedhi. So in few days back, Pandava Nijal Ekadasi day, our Lilananda Prabhu discussed about the topics. So when we come to ISKCON only, we are going to understand and differentiate between Gruhamedhi life and Grihastha life. And first time I'm hearing in this in our community only. Gruhamedhi. What is the meaning of Gruhamedhi? So here Kapila, they used this word Gruhamedhi. So we will talk about that. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Yes. The personality of Godhead said the person who lives in the center of household life derives material benefits by performing religious rituals and thereby fulfills his desire for economic development and sense gratification. And again, he acts the same way. Okay, I will read this purport also and then with Mangalacharana prayer, quickly we will go to sections. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are two kinds of householders. One is called Gruhamedhi and the other is called Grihastha. The objective of Gruhamedhi is sense gratification. Kama. The objective of Grihastha is self-realization. Simple. Very nice description by Srila Prabhupada. Gruhamedhi, sense gratification, Grihastha, self-realization. Here, the Lord is speaking about the Gruhamedhi, or the person who wants to remain in the material world. His activity is to enjoy material benefits by performing religious rituals for economic development and thereby ultimately satisfy the senses. He does not want anything more. Period. Such a person works very hard throughout his life to become very rich and eat very nicely and drink. By giving some charity or pious activity, he can go to a higher planetary atmosphere, the heavenly planets in his next life. But he does not want to stop repetition of birth and death and finish with the concomitant miserable factors of material existence. Such a person is called Gruhamedhi. So Prabhupada is given already definition in his purport. A Grihastha is a person who lives with family, wife, children, and relatives, but has no attachment for them. He prefers to live. So confidential, so confidence and so wonderful statement. No attachment for them because everything using family, children, relatives, everything using for Krishna service. He prefers to live in family life rather than as a mendicant or sannyasi. But his chief aim is to achieve self-realization or to come to the standard of Krishna consciousness. Here, however, Lord Kapila Deva is speaking about the Grihamedis who have made their aim the materialistically prosperous life, which they achieve by sacrificial ceremonies, by charities, and by good work. They are posted in good positions. And since they know that they are using up their assets of pious activities, they again and again perform activities of sense gratification. It is said by the Prahlad Maharaja, Punah Punah Charvita Charvananam. They prefer to chew the already chewed. Again and again, they experience the material pangs, even if they are rich and prosperous, but they do not want to give up this kind of life. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Tapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Anamustute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Pachakalpatubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukhaṁ karoti vācālam pangam langāyate girim yatkripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Om Pavitra Pavitra Vasarva Vasangato Piva Yaspare Pundari Paksham Sabhyabhyantaram Suchi Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu Sri Vishnu. Yes. So Grihastha and Brahmanadi life. Simple to understand. Grihastha life is to work on self-realization. Brahmanadi life is they are already in the eating, sleeping, mating, defending, sensual enjoyment, sense gratification. So let us see this PDF quickly. Okay, nice sections given by our friend Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. Outline all the sections so nicely. Let us read and we'll understand some of the purpose from Srila Prabhupada and go through it, this chapter. Maximum, I will end by 8:45. Okay. Just a second. Let me check time. Check. Just 15 minutes more maybe. And then can wrap up. Yes, 7:50. 10. Yes, we can do that. So I need some help from Mataji's and Prabhuji's. So please read this section. So there are total how many verses we have in this chapter? 43 verses. Okay. So total 43 verses in this chapter. Entanglement in fruitive activities. Please read these sections and subsections. Mataji, I will call out names better. Let me see Prabhu's. Prasad Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam. Can you please up to 21 Prabhu, this section? 21 verses.
Yes, Prabhu. Okay, Prabhu. Shall I read it, Prabhu, now? Start?
You can read, you can read. Are you able to read?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu. We are able to see it, Prabhu. Yeah.
Scanning.
Thank you, Prabhu. It is clear, Prabhu. Yeah, it is very clear. You are scanning the book, Prabhu?
Yeah, whenever we are scanning that.
Okay.
With the help of my wife Lavanya, and sometimes in our group, Raju Prabhu is going to, he got that service to scan and we go through. That way, see, these are, Bhakti Vedanta Vidyapita in GEV. They did a lot of research, on this Bhagavatam. They come up with different
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
1 to 4. Shloka 1 to 4.
Till 20.
Okay, Prabhu. Sure, Prabhu. Shloka number 1 to 4. Attached workers. Okay, 1 to 2. Shloka 1 to 2. Perform dharma. Okay, to attain Ardha and Kama. Efforts to Bhakti. Worship Pitras and Devas. And Shloka 3 to 4. They go to moon planet and return back to earth. Shloka 5 to 7, which highlights detached workers. Within this 5 to 7, Shloka 5 to 6 talk about execute Swadharma with a detachment. Shloka 7 talk about travel through the path of the sun and attain the Lord. Shloka number 8 to 15 talk about Hiranyagarbha worshippers. In that, Shloka 8 to 10 talk about remain in Satyaloka till the end of Brahma's life and be liberated with him. Shloka 11 to 15 talk about liberation is not possible without bhakti. So better perform bhakti. Shloka 16 to 21 talk about Lord Kapila criticizes Sakama Karma. In that, Shloka number 16 to 19 talk about persons with minds absorbed in family affairs in passion, worship the forefathers and are averse to Harikatha. And Shloka 20 to 21, they go to Pitraloka and return to the earth. Okay, Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yes. So 22 to 43. Any Mataji, can you help here? Last. Hare Krishna, Jyotsna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Pranam. So you have acted since you joined. Thank you very much for joining. Can you read these sections? These are the sections given here. 22. These are verse numbers, okay? 22, 26, 27 to 30. So please read these sections.
1 second, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I don't have my glasses, Prabhuji. Glasses levu. Adi koncham చూడడం కష్టంగా ఉంది, Prabhuji.
Okay, sure. No problem.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
ask.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Please,
She's
Prabhuji.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prashanti Mataji, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji. Okay. Where is Shilpa Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Dandavad
Dandavad
Pranam.
Pranam.
Yes, please read this section 22 to 43.
Prabhuji, from 22 to 26, by bhakti, goals of
Uh-huh.
other paths also achieved.
Yes.
22 to 23, Jnana and Vairagya is quickly achieved by practice of bhakti. 24-25, symptoms of a devotee. 26, one Bhagwan is perceived differently through different processes. 27 to 31, Lord Kapila speaks of Jnana. 27, detachment is common to all practitioners. 28 to 30, the Lord is the source of everything. 32 to 36, various paths ultimately to realize Bhagavan. The one Lord is perceived differently through different scriptural practices. 37 to 43, qualification to receive this knowledge. Unqualified people, qualified people, and Falashruti.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. So in this particular teachings of Kapila, Lord Kapila, this is very important actually. Some of the verses are very nice. And why only Bhakti Yoga again? Address everywhere, right? In the Bhagavatam, everywhere Bhakti Yoga only, and Lord Kapila also teaches us why Bhakti Yoga inclusive everything, and why only we have to take up the Bhakti Yoga. He explains so nicely. So here, Bhakti goals of other paths also achieved. The 22 to 26 verses are very important. Jnana and Vairagya is quickly achieved by practice of Bhakti. That means Bhakti Yoga inclusive of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga also. When we complete attention towards the holy names by hearing, we are in Samadhi actually. That is the ultimate goal of Samadhi. Ashtanga Yoga, they completely drag sensual thoughts, everything directs to one supreme truth. That way we are achieving through Hare Krishna Mantra. That is also including the Ashtanga Yoga in our Bhakti Yoga process. Symptoms of devotee. One Bhagavan is pursued differently through different processes. But Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan, except there. We all know that one verse. So some of the points very nice. We can read from Prabhupada purports also. These are the sections. 1 to 4 attached workers, 5 to 7 detached workers, 8 to 15 Hiranyagarbha worshippers. That means they remain in Satyaloka till the end of Brahma life and be liberated with him. Liberation is not possible without bhakti, so better perform bhakti. This also 11 to 15 talks about Bhakti Yoga only. See, Bhakti Yoga only, with the Bhakti Yoga only, that is a complete process. That is complete liberation we get. There is no question of repetition, birth and death. Right? Okay. Yes. And 32 to 36 talks about various paths ultimately to realize Bhagavan. Bhagavan realization, Bhagavatam first itself, the 3 verses, important verses, Janmadhyashayataha. Then second one is Dharma Projita Kaita. Then third one, Nigama Kalpatarur. All 3 verses talks about the establishing Krishna's position, period. Bhagavan realization. When we perform Bhakti Yoga, we are on the Bhagavan realization. Because Bhakti Yoga, 3 things, right? 3 B's. Bhagavan, Bhakti, and Bhakta. Transaction between Bhagavan and Bhakta is Bhakti. Bhagavan means is a person, Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are addressing him and we are serving him, treating him as a person, real personality of Godhead, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. In 3.32, the Lord Kapila speaks about returning to this world by Sakama Karma and not returning to this world by Nishkama Karma. Bhakti Yoga talks about Niskama Karma. All activities center around Krishna, no binding. Sakama karma, binding. Condition. Nishkama karma, liberated mode. And criticizes non-devotees. Also having explained the results of condemned simple activities, now Kapila explained the results of prescribed activities with material desire. So each topic is given these verses actually. 1 to 4 attached workers, practitioners of Sakama Karma cannot attain liberation. Points only given, we are not going to into in detail. Wherever required, I will choose a purport and we can read from Prabhupada's explanations. This section, let me ask somebody. Raja Prabhu, can you read this one? 1 to 4. These are the 4 verses. First 4 verses. Same translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji and their team taken out some points. Okay. Yeah.
Can I read?
This section is 1 to 4.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah, 1 to 4 attached workers, practitioners of Sakama Karma cannot attain liberation. First one, Dharma. A Gruhamedi, attached worker, perform Dharma for enjoying Artha and Kama. And after enjoying them, he acts the same way again and again. Second, worship. Such a person is averse to bhakti, but worships the Devata and Pitrus with full faith. Third, elevation to moon. As a result, he is elevated to the moon, where he drinks soma juice, and then he returns back to the earth. Fourth verse, all planets destroyed. All the planets attained by such Gruhamedi are destroyed when Lord goes to his bed of serpents. Ananta Sesha. At the end of the day of Brahma. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Pretty straightforward. Bhagavatam talks about beyond these things. What is it? Bhagavatam talks about Panchama Purushartha. That is nothing but love of God, Prema Bhakti, Krishna Prema. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha also still material. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So Gruhamedi works under those things. Gruhamedi. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Sense gratification only, right? That is also sense gratification. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Moksha, we have to understand here. They wanted to elevate in their different by performing their pious activities. They go to moon planet, enjoy some time, and come back again. Then they are not favorable devotion service. Ours to bhakti, but worships demigod worship. Yanti Deva, Vrata Devan, Pitruni, Yanti Pitruni. There are different verses quoted by Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita. Right, different verses. Demigod worshippers. Anya Devata, different devata they worship. Pitrus, different. Yanti Deva, Vrata Devan, Pitruni, Yanti. There's different planetary system they go by performing their worship. And all planets here, fourth was important. All planets are destroyed. Destroyed means attained. All these planets attained by such Gruhamedi are destroyed when the Lord goes to his bed of serpents. That means their performance, their performing worship in those demigod worship is not intelligent. Again, so this is called about attached workers, and this is 5 to 7 talks about Nishkama Karma. Practitioners of Nishkama Karma can attain the Lord. Detached workers. Lavanya, can you read this? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, 5 to 7, right? Detached
Yes,
workers.
5 to 7. Okay, please read.
5 to 7, detached workers. Practitioners of Nishkama Karma can attain the Lord. 5 to 6. Swadharma with detachment. But more intelligent people execute Swadharma with detachment. Nishanga, Nivritti Dharma. And do not desire the fruits of their actions, but offer them to the Lord. Nyasta Karmana. They are peaceful, Prashanta, and pure in consciousness. Shuddha Chetasa, without a sense of proprietorship. Nirmama, or false egoism. Nirahankakrita. 7. Path of Sun. Such people travel to path of Sun, Surya Dwarena, and attain the Lord.
This
You
one.
continue?
Yeah. No. Let us discuss here. Swadharma with detachment. See, This statement we frequently say, right? Attached to Krishna, detached to Maya. There is a lot of weightage in the statement. Attached to Krishna, detached to Maya. Maya can be sense gratification, enjoyment without Krishna, selfish motives. Maya, Prabhupada writes, Maya, which is not, but we are enjoying on the bodily platform. The body is not. Is the body is ours? Is that body is going to permanently stay like that young, beautiful body? No. As long as we are in the material world, we are our soul is engaged with matter and spirit. So body is going to change. So detached to Maya and attached to Krishna, detached to sensual activities, detached to all the selfish motives and selfish propensities, detached to bodily enjoyments. All right. Swadharma. What is our dharma? Bhagavatam says, Savai pumsa baro dharmo yato bhakti ratokshaje ahaituki apratiyata yayatma suprasidati. Uninterrupted, unmotivated devotion service to Supreme Lord. That is the Swadharma. That is our innate nature actually. Then while doing so, Anandamaya Abhyasa, by performing uninterrupted, unmotivated devotion service, the soul's nature is Anandamaya Abhyasa. Always soul needs to be in a happy condition. But since we experience that happiness because we have material body, material pains, sufferings, heat, cold, summer, winter, right? So here, but more intelligent people execute Swadharma with detachment. Nihasanga Nivritti Dharma, and do not desire the fruits of their actions. That means they work for only for the pleasing Supreme Lord. That's why their activities are akarmic activities, whatever their job. There are three things. Grihastha life, three things. I can say three responsibilities. Spiritual responsibility, professional responsibility, and familial responsibility. Three responsibilities we have to balance. Grihastha life. And working all this towards self-realization, understanding about Krishna, loving about Krishna through the service of Bhakti Yoga. And do not desire the fruits of actions, but offer them to the Lord. Nyasta karmana, nyasta karma. Who is saying? Who is saying these teachings? These verses from Kapila, Lord Kapila. Who is none other than Krishna himself. Krishna in the form of different avatars, Shakti Avesha avatars, empowered incarnations to deliver the conditioned souls. They are peaceable, prashanta, and pure in consciousness, Shuddha Chetasa, without a sense of proprietorship, nirmama, and false egoism, nirahankara. Problem with is ego. Beyond the senses, mind is beyond the senses, mind is powerful. Beyond the mind, intelligence is powerful. Intelligence is beyond the intelligence is false ego is powerful. That false ego we have to train. We have to tame our false ego to true ego. What is a true ego? I am servant of Krishna. Krishna is my master. Without any sense of proprietorship, nirmama and nirahankara. In path of sun, such people travel to the path of sun, Surya Dvarena, and attain the Lord. Very not much descriptions in later chapters. Vaitarani Nadi, we all heard, right? Vaitarani Nadi to the pass of this, living entity. Once, how quickly goes back to it. It has to touch all these planetary systems and ultimately go back to and stay there and serving their Krishna. So 8 to 15 talks about destination of the Hiranyagarbha worshippers and superiority of bhakti. Here 7 verses, 8 verses there. And superiority of bhakti. So let us see some of the points here. I will ask one more time, one Prabhu, so that I can read. Chandravali Prabhuji, please read this section. You are able to read, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, this section Mottam Chavan Prabhuji, then we can talk about some points.
8 to 15, destination of the Hiranyagarbha worshippers and superiority of bhakti. 8 to 9. The Hiranyagarbha worshippers remain in the material world, Satyaloka, till the end of the Brahma's lifetime, the Paradha. When Brahma gives up his body and goes to the Lord, enters into the Mahavishnu. Number 10, Brahmaloka. Those detached yogis by the practice of breathing exercise, etc., reach Brahma's planet. After giving up their bodies, they enter the body of Brahma and get liberated along with Brahma. Srila Viswanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that if the Hiranyagarbha worshippers worship only Brahma but do not have bhakti for Lord Vishnu, they will not attain liberation at the end of Brahma's life. They merge into the body of Mahavishnu along with the Brahma, but when the universe are created again, they enter into this universe. Although Brahma becomes liberated, he cannot liberate his devotees. Only the Supreme Lord can liberate one from the clutches of Maya. Since without bhakti, no one can become liberated, better perform bhakti. Just 11. Take direct shelter. Therefore, O mother, take direct shelter of the Lord, who is seated in everyone's heart. 12 to 15. Veda Drishti. Even Brahma, the Kumaras, and other exalted personalities don't get liberated if they have Bhakta Drishti, Veda Drishti, independent vision, or a mentality of being the deeds and being independent of the Supreme Lord. Though they attain Mahavishnu, they will come back in their same forms and positions in their next creation. Because of their absence of bhakti, Brahma and others return to the place where people perform sakama karma. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very important things, isn't it? So Hiranyagarbha worshippers remain in the material world, Satyaloka, till the end of Brahma's lifetime. Parardha. Okay. So these are the note points actually. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that if the Hiranyagarbha worshippers worship only Brahma but do not have bhakti for Lord Vishnu, they will not attain liberation at the end of the Brahma's life. Brahma itself has to take birth again, right? Brahma how can he give the liberation? Brahma Loka also, maybe they are going to live for longer time, millions or billions of time, billions of years of time, but still they have to take birth again. They will not attain liberation at the end of Brahma. All the Hiranyagarbha worshippers are also conditioned. They merge into the body of Mahavishnu along with Brahma, but when the universe are created again, and again they enter into the universe, again they are coming into a being. Although Brahma becomes liberated, he cannot liberate his devotees. Only the Supreme Lord can liberate one from the clutches of Maya. Supreme Lord only can be able to liberate. Since without bhakti, no one can become liberated. Better perform bhakti. 11th verse is, let us recite. Take direct shelter. Okay, 11th verse. I will go to 11th verse directly. Yes. Atatam sarvabhutanam hridpadmeshu kritalayam Sutanubhavam Sharanam Vrajabhavena Bhamini. Beautiful verse. Atatam Sarva Bhutana Hrit Padmeshu Krutalayam Shrutanubhavam Sharanam Vrajabhavena Bhamini. Therefore, my dear mother, by devotional service, take direct shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in everyone's heart. Can anybody say from Bhagavad Gita? 2 verses. Heart. Krishna situated in every living entity. Verses from Bhagavad Gita.
The 15.50. Sarvasya chaham shriti sannivishtav mattaspriti jnanamapohanam cha. Vedaisya sarvai ahameva vedyo vinanta krutveda vidyeva cha.
Yes, thank you, Ravana. And one more verse. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrudyeshu arjuna tishtati. Krishna is situated in everyone's heart. So he is very close. Nobody, even our spouse, even our relatives, parents, not close like Supreme Lord Krishna as a Paramatma. He is very close. He is in the body, in our body. So we have to render a devotion. So that is the teachings to his mother Devahuti. Lord Kapila's teachings to his mother Devahuti. Direct devotion service is better. Right? So, yes, direct shelter. Take direct shelter. And there are two things he mentioned in that Veda Drishti, 12 to 15 verses talks about Veda Drishti, independent vision or mentality of being the doers, independent of the Supreme Lord. See, whatever we do independently without Krishna, it says there is a Veda Drishti, na? We are not getting the proper understanding about Krishna. We are not independent. We are always dependent on his material energies, everything. We are completely dependent on his material energies. Can we live without breathing air? Can we live without drinking water? Can we live without having nice foodstuffs? How it is coming from the nature. Nature given by whom? It is created by whom? By whom? Krishna himself. That's we never ever become independent. We always dependent on Krishna and his energies. So even if a person having that kind of drishti, still they are though they attend Mahavishnu, see, even though they attend Mahavishnu, they will come back in their same forms and positions in the next creation. Because of their absence of bhakti, Brahma and other returns to the place where people perform sakama karma. Okay. So I wanted to see proper purport here. Can anybody read? Important, this talks about the Bhakti Yoga and Prabhupada writes known as in this purport. Can anybody read? Hey Mataji or Prabhuji? Just complete these 2 paragraphs. Please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Yes.
Purport based Prabhupada teaching. One can attain direct contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in full Krishna consciousness and revive one's eternal relationship with him as a lover, as Supreme Soul, as son, as friend, or as a master. One can re-establish the transcendental loving relationship with the Supreme Lord in so many ways. And that feeling is true oneness. The oneness of the Mayavadi philosophers and the oneness of Vaishnava philosophers are different. The Mayavadi and Vaishnava philosophers both want to merge into the Supreme, but the Vaishnavas do not lose their identities. They want to keep the identity of lover, parent, friend, or servant. In the transcendental world, the servant and master are one. That is the absolute platform. Although the relationship is servant and master, both the servant and the served stand on the same platform. That is oneness. Lord Kapila advised his mother that she did not need any indirect process. She was already situated in that direct process because the Supreme Lord had taken birth as her son. Actually, she did not need any further instruction because she was already in the professional stage. Kapila advised her to continue in the same way. He therefore addressed his mother as Vamini to indicate that she was already thinking of the Lord as her son. Devahuti is advised by Lord Kapila to take directly to the devotional service, Krishna consciousness, because without that consciousness, one cannot become liberated from the clutches of Maya.
The Prabhupada writes about one can attain direct contact the Supreme Personality of God in full consciousness and revive one's eternal relationship with him as a lover, as a Supreme Soul, as a son, as a friend, as a master. See, who can give this, confidential knowledge revealed to us? Prabhupada, see. That's why direct devotional service, which leads us to establish our connection, our relationship with Krishna in one of the 5 primary rasas, right? Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. Vatsalya and Madhurya. So higher than Shanta, higher than Shanta, Dasya, higher than Dasya, Sakya, higher than Sakya, Vatsalya, higher than Vatsalya, there's a topmost Madhurya. Actually, Madhurya inclusive of all things. Sometimes, sometimes friendship, sometimes the servant, sometimes Shanta Bhava, sometimes parental. So in each of these rasas, combination of other three, other 4, other 2, 1, like that. So that's the thing. We are, the Prabhupada writes it, the Mayavadi and Vaishnava philosophy, but both want merge into Supreme. But Vaishnavas do not lose their identities. We all have Swarupa Siddhi, Prabhuji's and Mataji's. We all have Swarupa Siddhi when we go back to the Godhead. That Swarupa Siddhi, no other living entity can be able to fill in. We are unique identity with Krishna. Right? We are unique identity with Krishna. And that identity nobody can be able to replace. So here Kapila Deva is already, Lord Kapila advised his mother that she did not need any indirect process. She was already situated in the direct process because the Supreme Lord had taken birth as her son. Actually, she did not need any other instruction because she was already in the perfection. Kapila Deva advised her to continue the same way. Therefore, addressed his mother as Bhamini to indicate that she was already thinking of the Lord as his son. Devahuti is advised by Lord Kapila to take direct devotional service, Krishna consciousness, because without that consciousness, one cannot become liberated from the clutches of Maya. So this teaching applies to all of us also. We are reading now. We don't need to waste all different processes. We just have to come to the platform of devotional life, Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada specifically put this institution, Krishna consciousness. Now, his disciples and other well-wishers advised him to change God consciousness. No, he didn't agree. He himself intentionally put Krishna consciousness. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's where International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So let us quickly go through this another section. So I will need help here with any Prabhu's Mataji's. Now 16 to 21 talks about the Sakama Karma. And Lord Kapila is criticizing. Sakama Karma is not good because again, in order to fulfill this whatever good activities, you have to come back to this material world. It's not a good business, it's a good deal. It's not a good deal. We just have to elevate ourselves from Sakama Karma to Nishkama Karma. Yes, 16 to 21. Anybody? Mata is Padma Mata.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Sunil, please read. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Attached minds. With their minds attached to this world, the materialistic people perfectly perform their prescribed duties with attachment to fruitive results. 17. Worship forefathers. Tormented by passion and with their minds absorbed in household affairs, they worship the forefathers. 18 to 19. Averse to Hari Katha, they are interested only in Dharma, Artha, and Kama, and averse to Hari Katha. Thus, they are compared to stool-eating hogs and are attached to Asat Gatha. 20 to 21. Attain Pitraloka. Perfectly performing their prescribed duties from birth until death, they go to Pitraloka. After their pious credits are exhausted, they fall back down to earth. Last one as well? No.
This is the yes.
After describing those who are dedicated to Nivitra Karma 5 to 7, Kapila advised to surrender to the Lord in 3.32.11. After describing those dedicated to Pavitra Karma, Prabhatra Karma 16 to 21, Kapila again advises to just worship the Supreme Lord with devotion.
These are the linking points. When we see in this book now, sometimes in a note point, sometimes in linking points. The linking points, what exactly connected with different verses and from sometimes previous chapter in connection with this context. Okay, so again we read from Bhagavad Gita, Pitraloka, different lokas, because of they're attached to Pitru Devata, they are attached to demigods. They go to their planetary systems, and that is not a intelligent thing, because again heaven has to come back. So all the planetary systems is all the condition only. Only Golok Vrindavan, Vaikuntha planets are the liberated souls, and those are the permanent place. Yet Gatvara Nivartante Tadhama Paramamama. Once we go back to God, there is no question of coming back again. Worship of forefathers, hours to Harikatha, attain to Pitraloka. This is criticizing. Sakama karma means again, you have to come back, take birth again. The thing. Pretty straightforward. 22, 26. This is one of the important conclusion of Lord Kapila's teachings. Very important. 5 verses. By bhakti, goals of other paths are also achieved. So why bhakti inclusive of all other paths? Very beautiful verses by Lord Kapila. Padma Mataji or Shilpa Mataji. Anybody likes to read?
20 Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, Padma Mataji.
Krishna.
Read. Hare Krishna.
22 to 26. By bhakti, goals of other paths are also achieved. Conclusion of Lord Kapila's teachings. 22. Worship of the Lord. Therefore, with full attention, you should worship the Lord, whose attractive lotus feet are worth worshipping. Accept this with all devotion and love. Tasmatvam sarvabhavena bhajasva parameshthinam tad gunashrayaya bhaktya bhajanaya padambujam. Bhakti 23. Bhakti unto Lord Vasudeva makes one advance in knowledge, jnana, and detachment, vairagya, as well as in self-realization. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yogaha Prayojitaha Janatye Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Yad Brahma Darshanam. 24 to 25. Symptoms of such a devotee. Equipoised in sensory activities and vision, transcendental to good and bad, superior and inferior. By his transcendental intelligence, he sees himself uncontaminated by matter, elevated to transcendental platform, Padam, equal in qualities with the Lord. 22 to 23 and 26. In 3.32 to 22 to 23, Kapila said that all the results of bhakti, jnana, and yoga are achieved by performing bhakti alone. How is that? 26. One Lord appears differently. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, is one, but he appears differently as Brahman, Paramatma, or Purusha Avatar, according to the different processes followed by various practitioners. Gnanamatram Param Brahma, Paramatma Ishvaraha, Puman, Drishya Adibihi, Pritag Bhave. Bhagavan Eka Iyate. Because Bhagavan contains both Brahman and Paramatma.
Yeah.
Because Bhagavan contains both Brahman and Paramatma, the realization of Bhagavan by bhakti includes the realizations of Paramatma and Brahman. On the other hand, by practicing jnana for Brahman or yoga for Paramatma, one does not attain the position of an associate of the Lord. For this is nowhere stated in scriptures.
Very good. Thank you very much, Mataji. So
Hare
these
Krishna.
2 verses, yes, Mataji. 22, 23 until 26. See, Kapila said that all the results of bhakti, jnana and yoga are achieved by performing bhakti alone. How is that? Tasmat tvam sarvabhavena bhajasva paramestina tad gunashayaya bhaktya bhajaniya padambujam. And this is one more important verse. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jana Yatyaishu Vairagyam Jnanam Yat Brahma Darshanam. With full attention, should worship the Lord, whose attractive lotus feet are worth worshipping. Accept this with all devotion and love. Bhakti unto Lord Vasudeva makes one advance in knowledge, jnana, and detachment, vairagya, as well as in self-realization. Let me share here Srila Prabhupada purports of this 22nd, 23rd. The big, he has given nice purport. Actually, we can read this one. Let me share. 22nd one. Tasmat tvam sarvabhavena bhajasva paramestina tad gunashayaya bhaktya bhajaniya padambujam. My dear mother, I therefore advise that you take shelter of the Supreme Personality of God for his lotus feet worth worshipping. Accept this with all devotion and love. For thus you can be situated in transcendental devotional service. Sarva bhavena. So here important words, the paramestinam in connection with is used in sometimes used in connection with Brahma, but paramesti means the supreme person. As a Brahma is a supreme person within the universe, Krishna is a supreme personality of God and is a spiritual world. So directly saying to his mother, direct worship, directly, especially Krishna, the Lord Kapila Deva advised his mother that she should take shelter of lotus feet, supreme personality of Godhead. Sarva bhavena, in all loving ecstasy, bhava, the preliminary stage of elevation before attaining of pure love of God. There are there are 9 stages of devotion, like we all know, right? Sadhu Sangha, Ata Shraddha. First we need to have Ado Shraddha. First we need to have firm faith, firm conviction that Krishna is going to help me. And then Sadhu Sangha, regular devotee association, regular, not irregular, regular devotee association. Then Bhajana Kriya. Within the Sadhu Sangha, what we do? Bhajana Kriya. We perform Bhajana Kriya, glorifying Supreme Lord, understanding about his teachings, etc. Then Anartha Nivritti, by performing this regularly, Anarthas, there are so many Anarthas in our heart, that will be Nivritti, goes away. It's over a period of time. By after Anartha Nivritti, we get the Nishta, firm faith again, Asakti, attachment to Krishna, and not disinterest in materialistic activities. And Ruchi, taste, we get the taste in chanting the holy names, by performing bhakti. And then ultimately, the 8th stage is a bhava, and 9th stage is a prema. So one by one, it's interrelated, interconnected. One has to have firm faith, and then associated with devotees, and performing devotional service within the devotees, bhajana kriya. Anartha nivritti will take away slowly, and Nishta will establish, Asakti will be achieved, and Ruchi will be, we get the taste, Bhava and Prema. So Prabhupada writes there, Bhava, preliminary stage of elevation before the attainment of pure love of God. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita, Buddha Bhava Samandita. One who has attained the stage of Bhava can accept the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and worship Him. This is also advised here by Lord Kapila to his mother. Okay. Phrase Tad Gunashaya Bhaktya. This means that discharging devotion service unto Krishna is transcendental. So when we perform Bhakti Yoga, it's not under the modes of material nature, right? Mamcheva Vicharena Bhakti Yogena Sevate Sagunan Samati Taitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. This Bhakti Yoga situated beyond the 3 modes. Suddha Sattva platform. It's a very logical thing, no? When we understand this verse. How can be situated beyond the 3 modes? Takes up the beat bag and chant. You are situated on the 3 modes. Even though we are in the material world, the process situated in the beyond the 3 modes of material nature. Because the Bhagavad Nama is not attached to this material world. Is not no material qualities. Everything is spiritual qualities. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Because this mantra is directly Krishna. And Krishna is not under the modes of material nature. Krishna himself is a spiritual. We see, right, in his material world, when he is in the material world, according to some age only, he wanted his own will. He became a small child and grown up and a young boy up to 16, 17 years old boy. That's it. He never undergo the stages of, old age, etc., etc. His body is Navayavanamcha. Because his body is spiritual. When his body is spiritual, when his body is spiritual, there are no material qualities. The performance of Bhakti Yoga, that means Abhinnatvam Namanamina. There is no difference between Krishna and his holy name. When we take up the holy name, chanting, we also, under the material modes, we are situated beyond the 3 modes, Shuddha Sattva. The more we perform Bhakti Yoga, the better our next life. In this life, Prabhupada says many times, give this one life to Krishna. Krishna is, of course, you crossed different lifetimes, sufferings. Why don't you use this life for Krishna's service? Right? So much meaning is there. Devotional service in full Krishna consciousness is the only means for attaining the highest perfection of life for the human being. Is the only process. Only process. And Lord Kapila also confirmed and giving that. Kapila is nothing but Krishna himself only. Bhakti is therefore nirguna, free from all the material qualities. Although discharge of devotional service appears to be like material activities, it is never saguna, contaminated with material qualities. Tad gunashaya means Lord Krishna transcendental qualities also sublime. Yes. By taking shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna, one is endowed with both kinds of prosperity, material and spiritual. Why then should one go to why then should one go to any demigod? It's not an intelligence thing. See, so why people are going to different demigods? To satisfy their senses, their desires, right? They go for demigod worshipper because demigods are only giving these their materialistic benefits. That's why very less people come to Krishna. Krishna is going to take away everything. He is giving the prema bhakti. Whatever he wanted to give, he will give anyway. But Krishna is not like that. Krishna intentionally, Krishna expertly created these demigods. Of course, some people having the sense gratification, so they approach their demigods so that they take prolonged time to understand Krishna. So that's another topic. So better direct devotions are always saying, no, again, Kapila is always saying direct devotion service is the best process. Okay. So another section. And symptoms of devotee, equipoised, Brahmabhuta Prasannatma stage. Right? We say in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says that. Who are the devotees? Who's their consciousness be? Brahmabhuta Prasannatma Nasochati na Kankshati. No hankering, no lamenting. Stand still. Transcendental to good and bad, superior, inferior. By his transcendental influence, he sees himself uncontaminated by matter, elevated to transcendental platform, Padam, equal in qualities with the Lord. One Lord appears differently. See, we know that verse, right? Vadanti tat tattvavidas. Vadanti tat tattvavidas. Later. Vadanti tat tattvavidas. There is another line. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan Ichabde. There is one second line I forgot. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan Ichabde. Example, Prabhupada only given that, sunshine, sun disk, sun god. Different ways of understanding. But actually, when we perform direct devotional service to Krishna, we are on the Bhagavan realization. Bhagavan realization, who possesses all six opulences, is a person, and the person having the other two realizations also. Paramatma realization in him and Brahmajyoti realization in him. Right? When we understand Bhagavan means, our understanding is complete. That means we don't need to go Brahmajyoti platform. We don't need to go Paramatma realization. We just have to serve Supreme Lord. That inclusive of these two aspects. That's where it is, na? Because Bhagavan contains both Brahman and Paramatma. The realization of Bhagavan by Bhakti includes the realizations of Paramatma and Bhagavan. Very important statement, right? When we perform Bhakti, by Bhakti, directly addressed to Bhagavan, and which inclusive of Paramatma realization as well as in-person relation, Brahmajyoti platform. So Krishna is complete. Our understanding is complete. And then 27 to 31, Lord Kapila speaks on Jnana. These are the pretty straightforward topics. We'll quickly jump into it. Let us read anyway. This book is nicely given. 27 to 31, Lord Kapila speaks on Jnana. I'll ask Prasad Prabhuji, can you read this section? There are two more sections.
Yes,
yeah, 3 sections we can complete quickly. Okay. Yeah.
okay.
Yes. 27 to 31. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, I'm able to see. Yeah, 27 to 30. 27 to 31. Lord Kapila speaks on Jnana. 27. Detachment is common. There is one common requirement for all yoga practitioners to achieve their respective goals. Complete detachment from matter. 28. Everything is false, but those who are averse to transcendence realize the absolute truth differently through mistaken speculation. Okay, and thus everything appears to them false. Everything is false is not true. Lord Kapila explains in 3.32.29 that everything rests on him. Sloka number 29. The Lord is the source. From Mahatattva, I manifested the false ego. The three modes, the 5 elements, 11 senses, which is explained in Sloka number 3.26. The whole universe has come from me. Sloka number 30. How to attain this knowledge? By faith, bhakti, by faith, bhakti, practice of yoga and detachment with a constantly controlled mind, and by giving up material association. 23 to 31 is talking about Lord Kapila concludes his explanation of knowledge of self-realization, which is Jnanam Tad Brahma Darshanam. Sloka number 31. Thus, I have explained to you about Jnana, realization of Brahman, by which one understands the truth about Prakriti and Purusha.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Haribol.
One important point from this here, how to attain this knowledge? By faith, bhakti, practice of yoga and detachment, with constantly controlled mind, and by giving up material association. This 30th verse is wonderful verse. 30th verse. Etad vai Shraddhaya Bhaktya Yoga Bhyasena Nityasa Samahitatma Nihasango Viratya Paripashyati. That this perfect knowledge can be achieved by a person who is already engaged in devotional service. Engaged in devotional service. In with faith, steadiness, full detachment, and who is always observed in thought of Supreme, is aloof from material association. Right? So, tortoise example is given in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, right? Covering, and the legs covering under the shell. That's the thing. Drag our senses for material sense objects to aloof from material association. The one of the problem with asat sangha. Asat sangha only we get the different habits, different ways of desires, different kinds of desires. So with the perfect knowledge can be achieved a person who is already engaged in devotion. Actually, see, always talks about devotional service because that much importance. Why we have to repeatedly say that devotional service, devotional service, devotional service. But that is a topmost system now. And that inclusive of everything, right? That's why Prabhupada every time like back home, back to God, pure devotional service, transcendental platform. Why? Because that is the most important thing we have to understand. Bhakti yoga is the topmost, the elevator process, we all know. So everything created by him, right? The false ego created by him, the three modes created by him, 5 elements, Bhumira Ponalo Vayu, the knowledge acquiring senses, the sense organs, the five working senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, mind, everything. The whole universe has come from me. These are all material elements. And in his creation, those material elements, from the material elements only, different jivas coming into play and acquiring different consciousness. So Lord is the source, right? Aham sarvasya prabhavo makta sarvam pravartate. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 10.8 verse, I am the source of all spiritual and material source. Material worlds means material creation. This Mahatattva created by him only. All the material elements created by him only. But secondary creation by Brahma expanded, different progenies, etc., etc., etc. But actually, original source is Krishna. Original creator is Krishna. Everything is false, but those who are averse to transcend realize the absolute truth differently through mistaken speculation, and thus everything appears to them false. See, with their blunt senses, they speculate. Speculative knowledge is a doomed knowledge, not perfect knowledge. Speculation. God is there. God is light. God is energy. God is no person. Different misconceptions. It's incomplete understanding, and everything false, mistaken speculation, and thus everything appears to them is false. Everything is false is not true. Lord Kapila explains that 3:32 to 29 that everything rests on him. That's where everything is not false. Everything is real. The material world is also real. Spiritual world is also real. One is relative and one is absolute. Spiritual world is absolute, complete, whereas material world is relative. Best to understand is body. Relatively, we have to change our bodies. In the spiritual world, absolute. There is no question of changing bodies. Our eternal form is there. Swarupa Siddhi is there. And our eternal relationship is there. With that, we are performing eternal service to Krishna. And there is everything is eternal and happy state, blissful state, knowledgeable state. And we always be there. In 32 to 36 section, various paths ultimately to realize Bhagavan. Quickly, one has to read this one. Okay. Sunil Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah, read this section, Prabhuji.
32 to what? 32 to
read, Prabhu.
Various paths ultimately to realize Bhagavan. Same destination, 32. Either by bhakti, devotional service, or by jnana, philosophical research, one has to find the same destination, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. But it is well known that the jnanis attain Brahman and not Bhagavan. Then how can the destination of both bhaktas and jnanis be the same? 33. Different appearances of the same Lord. Just as a single object is appreciated differently by different senses, the Lord is one, but according to different scriptural practices, he appears to be different. Yatha indriya prathag dvarer artho baho guna rasya eko naneyate tadvar Bhagwan Shastra Vartama Bhiya. Perceiving milk with different senses. When we see milk, we see that it is white. When we taste it, it appears palatable. When we touch milk, it appears cold. When we smell it, it appears aromatic. And when we hear, we understand that it is called milk. But one can best appreciate milk with the tongue by tasting it, not with the eyes, nostrils, or ears. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, by different means, those who try to find the Lord by mental speculation may approach his bodily effulgence in personal Brahman. Those who try to find him by mystic yoga may realize him as the localized supersoul. But those who directly approach the Supreme Truth by Bhakti Yoga can see him face to face. As Bhagavan.
Yes.
Thus, the Supreme Lord is the ultimate destination of all processes, but depending on the particular process one follows, one reaches a particular aspect of the Lord. Bhagavan realization by Bhakti also includes the realization of the Lord's Paramatma and Brahman features. Thus, Bhakti is the best path and Bhagavan realization is the ultimate. What are the various spiritual practices by which the Lord can be displayed? 34 to 36. Different spiritual practices. Pious actions, sacrifices, charities for grastas, austerities for vanaprasthas, Vedic study and discussion for brahmacharis, control of senses and mind, renunciation for sannyasis, yoga practice, bhakti, sakam and nishkam, varnashram activities, understanding the nature of Atma and firm detachment.
Very good. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Right.
So quickly, so see, this point we have to understand. But it is well known that Jnanis attain Brahman and not Bhagavan. Then how can the destination of both Bhaktas and Jnanis be the same? So two different things. Bhakti Yoga's realization, Bhakti Yoga's destination is different. Jnana Yoga, Karma Yogas and the Ashtama Yogas, their destination is different. Here only it is writing, right? The example, giving an example of milk. Unless we taste it, right? By tasting it, not with the best, but one can best appreciate milk with the, how can we appreciate milk? By tasting it. like not touching, or not smelling, or not seeing, right? Not hearing. That's the thing. But tasting it, and not with eyes, nostrils, ears. That means Bhagavan realization is like that. We are direct Krishna Rasayanam. There is one word. Krishna Rasayanam, direct loving exchanges between Krishna and his devotees. Brahman realization is a impartial realization. Only Sat potency is there. Always Sat Chit Ananda, right? Three things, right? Sat Chit Ananda. Sat potency only there in the Brahman realization. Impersonal realization. And Paramatma realization, Sat there, Chit there. There is no Ananda in Paramatma realization. In Bhagavan realization, these three inclusive. Sat, Chit, Ananda. That's where it's complete. Approaching the Lord by different means, that means those who try to find the Lord by mental speculation may approach his bodily effulgence, that impersonal Brahman. Those who try to find himself mystic yoga, Dasnagaya yoga system, realize him in localized form, Shankar Chakra Kamala Gadadhara form. But those who directly approach the Supreme Truth by Bhakti Yoga can see him face to face. Krishna Rasayanam, between devotee and Krishna, exchanging devotional mellows. Thus, the Supreme Lord is the ultimate destination of all the processes. But depending on the particular process one follows, one reaches a particular aspect of the Lord. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. Bhagavan realization by bhakti also includes the realizations of the Lords. We know that. It inclusive of both Paramatma realization and impersonal realization. Brahma Jyoti platform. Thus, bhakti is the best path. Bhagavan realization is the ultimate. Highlighted, right? Bhakti is the best path and Bhagavan realization is the ultimate. What are the various spiritual practices by which Lord can be perceived? Different things, pious actions, sacrifices, charities, austerities, Vedic study and discussions for brahmacharis. Give different ashrams and different scriptural practices. Pious actions, sacrifices, charities for grihasthas, austerities for vanaprasthas, Vedic study and discussion for brahmacharis, control of senses and mind, renunciation for sannyasis, yoga practice, bhakti, sakama and nishkama, varnashrama activities, understanding the nature of Atma and the firm detachment. So these are different scriptural practices we have to understand. So each ashrama is a particular elevation to Samsiddhir Haritoshanam, right? All these ashramas, varnas and ashramas, ultimately Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. It has to please the Supreme Lord. Whatever varna, whatever ashrama one can be situated, but it has to service the Supreme Lord. Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. This is the last section. I will read it. Qualification to receive this knowledge. 37 to 38. I have answered all three of your questions about the four types of bhakti, the nature of time, the birth and death of the jiva caused by ignorance, because of which the jiva doesn't understand its destination. 39 to 40. Those teachings are not meant for envious, agnostics, those unclean in behavior, proud, hypocrites, greedy, materially attached, non-devotees, and those who hate devotees. So this is the problem, okay? Those teachings should be given to whom? 41 to 42. Faithful, devotees, respectful, non-envious, friendly, to all jivas, eager to render service, detached, peaceful-minded, unselfish, pure, and who have taken the Lord to be the most dear object. Falashruti, one who faithfully hears or speaks this topic, achieve the Lord's abode. See, any topic, any ashtakam, for example, Jagannath ashtakam, 6 ashtakam, the very various things, Falashruti is to what happens when we hear about these pastimes, when we read and understand about these teachings, faithfully hears, one who faithfully hears and speaks these topics, achieve the Lord's abode. So whatever connected topics of Supreme Lord, when we faithfully hears, we achieve Lord's abode. We achieve the Lord's abode because we are hearing, understanding, contemplating those meanings. That means we are already there. We are achieving the Lord's abode. We get that benefit. spiritual benefit. We always say that. What is the benefit? What is the spiritual benefit when I perform these activities? So these two verses and the 39:40 and 41:42. These teachings not meant for whom, and these teachings meant for whom. Anyways, never understand devotional life. Agnostics, no. Unclean guys, no. Rude behavior, proud, hypocrites, greedy guys, they won't understand path of bhakti. They are called non-devotees. Devotees, they are faithful, respectful, non-envious, friendly, eager to do some seva, service, detached, peace of mind, unselfish, this thing. And 37, 38, what he is saying, I have answered all three of your questions. What are they about? 4 types of bhakti: the nature of time, the birth and death of jiva caused by ignorance, because of which jiva doesn't understand its destination. See, 2 things: knowledge and detachment. Through these 2, we can progress in bhakti swiftly. Knowledge by regularly reading, regularly hearing. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We get the knowledge. Like attending every weekend Bhagavatam classes, Bhagavatam calls. Right? Morning Mangalarati. So these are the devotional activities with the knowledge. And detachment. Detached to sensual activities. Okay? Which is selfish motives. Which are still selfish motives, which cannot help us. Which are going to be bind us. Knowledge, detachment, two things: knowledge and detachment. With these 2, how to develop knowledge, how to develop detachment. And Lord Kapila is teaching direct process. But by practicing bhakti yoga, we can develop knowledge, we can develop detachment. Right? Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says how different yoga systems as he explained, but ultimately the jival-like chapters from 7th chapter to 12th chapter in between, he has explained about the bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is a diamond, like diamond, and it's a direct process, and it pleases to Supreme Lord. All the materialistic things and everything will go away when we perform bhakti yoga. Because Krishna is the source of everything. Krishna is the Apaurushaya. Apaurushaya means no. Apaurushaya is a very powerful person. Asamordva. That's what I want to say. Asamordva. Nobody is equal and nobody is greater than him. Asamordva. Krishna's supremacy explained in Bhagavad Gita, right? Matta parataram nanya kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvam vidam protam sutre maniganayama. The thread like holding. Who is holding all these planetary systems? Krishna only. Aham sarvasya prabhu. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Krishna himself establishing his supremacy. He is the supreme controller of everything. He is the supreme proprietor of everything. And he is the supreme enjoyer of everything. And he is the supreme master of everything. Since he created, he knows everything. He can able to do anything and everything. Right? So it's the thing. So basically in this chapter, Kapila Dev talking about the sensual gratifications, fruitive activities, it's going to be bind us. Mana has to come back again. But there is a beautiful process called Bhakti Yoga. It's a direct process which liberates us. And all the activities performed in Bhakti Yoga, akarma activities. We all know that, right? Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, sense gratification. Bhoga Ishwarya Prasaktanam Maya Taya Pahrita Chetasa. And enjoying propensity. Bhoga Ishwarya, enjoying propensity. That's the thing. I wanted to add a few more things, and so this is the thing we are learning in Bhakti Vaibhava classes from Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. Nice word he is used. First time I'm hearing from is from entanglement to untanglement. Entanglement means bandhana, right? Janma murti. Again we have to, if we perform any materialistic way of life, if we are still in the materialistic, if we lead our life in the materialistic way, we have to take birth again, because Krishna has created a stringent material laws. Repetition of birth and death, janma mrityu jara vyadhi. We have to, from this entanglement of the janma mrityu jara vyadhi, we have to untangle. How can we do that? By practicing bhakti yoga. By practicing bhakti yoga. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma talks about 5th chapter 7th verse. Yoga yukta vishuddhatma, that can be, that has to liberate us. That yoga, what is that yoga? Bhakti yoga. Tesham tatadiptanam bhajatam priti purvakam. We just have to render devotional service, constant devotional service to Krishna. He is going to give the intelligence. With that intelligence we go back to others. How can we get that intelligence? Unless we come back to Krishna with the knowledge, Krishna is going to help me forever. So when we have that kind of faith, and when we start practicing bhakti yoga and always remembering him, never forgets him, Krishna is going to take care of us. Definitely take care of them. No other choice, no other chance to Krishna. He has to help his devotees. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. Yes. Everything, supreme absolute truth is Krishna. Absolute truth. That's why 2 words. Absolute, in our software industry, there is 2 things: absolute path and relative path. Absolute path is complete. Relative path is an halfway. We are in the relative world. We are not in absolute world. Absolute world, there are no changes. In relative world, everything is changing. Our body is changing. We are going to die. Right? That's the thing. We are in relative truths. So yeah, that's what thing. I took a little more time. Sorry, devotees. Thank you so much for the patience and giving me the opportunity to speak. All glories to Guru Parampara, Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Whatever I said, if I say any inappropriate or anything wrong, I'm open for corrections. Anybody have any questions or adding anything, please do that. So that we can have another 2-3 minutes. And then we can.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, at one place you mentioned that okay, it is just more of a technical question, Prabhu. Okay, you said okay, jnanis. Okay, you will go to that Brahman. That's what you mentioned, Prabhu. And he said that is not his body, but that is, if I remember correctly, that is also his expansion and his body, no Prabhu.
Sorry, Prabhu, your question. What is that Jnani thing?
ఇప్పుడు ఇంతకు ముందు అదే వాట్ యూ సెడ్ ఈస్ ఓకే జ్ఞానిస్ మే గో టు బ్రహ్మన్ జ్యోతి ఓకే
that's where I mentioned. Yes, correct. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu. And you said it is not his body. Yeah, it is not like it is 2 hands 2 leg body, but that is also expansion of him, right? Somewhere I heard that it is his skin or something like that, not skin. That is expansion of his body only.
Expansion of his body. His body means, because I'm still not getting there, Prabhuji. What did I say? You can correct me. What did I say, Prabhu?
అక్కడ మీరు ఏమన్నారంటే ప్రభు గాడ్ అంటే కృష్ణుడు అంటే బ్రహ్మన్స్ అది బ్రహ్మంలో కలుస్తారు అన్నారు ప్రభు. అదే కదా. సో కానీ బ్రహ్మము అది బాడీ కాదు అన్నట్టు అన్నారు అన్నమాట.
Acha. So basically, Prabhu, I mean, as per Bhagavan realization inclusive of Paramatma realization as well as impersonal realization, Brahma Jyoti platform, right? So in the Brahma Jyoti platform, they merge into the Brahma Jyoti platform and they stay for some time, again come back. So that's the understanding, na? What did I say incorrectly, Prabhuji? I mean, I'm still
ఇన్కరెక్ట్ కాదు ప్రభు. ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ ఆస్కింగ్, ఇన్కరెక్ట్ కాదు అంటే అది కూడా ఆయన దేహమే కదా ప్రభు. ఇట్ ఈస్ హిస్ బాడీ.
Krishna's body only, na? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
It is not that you said something wrong, bro. Okay, that is also his body only.
His body only, yeah, his body only, na? His expansions, is all pervading nature is
Effulgence,
Paramatma.
Prabhuji. It's effulgence. It's
Effulgence.
effulgence coming from the body. Yeah, toenails. Yeah.
His own, right? How can we say it's not his body? No,
That is
no.
expansion.
His body
But
only. Yes.
yeah, it is kind of it is mixed into his body, or it is merged into that effulgence, we can say.
Effulgence. Yes.
Effulgence.
Effulgence.
Okay.
Merging into the Brahman effulgence is a Brahma Jyoti platform.
Ma-
That is
merged
coming
into
from
that.
Krishna only.
And we don't have any services to do, no, Prabhuji. Soul should be active, but it's no. There should the soul cannot be any activity, so it is inactive. So it doesn't want to stay for longer time. So it will fall down again.
Will fall down again, come back to the Earth or some other planetary systems.
Material planets.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
And
The
Paramatma
important
is
purpose. Yeah. You've been
all
going through the
pervading.
important purpose. At the same time, okay, you have covered the high level details, Prabhu. It's very nice session, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Pervaded. Yes, Prabhuji. Pervaded. All pervading nature is Paramatma relation. In every living entity, he possesses even a Chara Achara. Not only Chara, Achara also.
Achara also.
And then a complete Bhagavan relation. He is situated as a personal form in the Vaikuntha planets, and Golok Vrindavana is the topmost planet. But everything comes from him only. Everything comes from him only. Aham Sarvasya Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Prabhu.
you.
Wonderful session, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Anybody? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Prashanti Mataji, Silpa Mataji, Sapan Prabhu, Raju Prabhu, Padma Mataji, Praveen Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think we can close.
Thank you very much for your wonderful class, Prabhuji. Super nicely covered. Complete introduction from the one.
Took some time, Prabhu. Another
Thank you,
35
Prabhuji.
minutes
Very much.
more. 35 minutes more. I took.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much.
Thank you,
Vansha
Prabhuji.
Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavanda ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Hari Premanande. Hari Hari.